Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in for a very exciting WFHB Firehouse session. This is Abby, and I'm so happy to be here talking with Alansparhawk, who you may know from the legendary Duluth, Minnesota band Low. Thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, it's an honor. Thank you. Hope everybody's having a good day.
Well, we will have the chance to talk more with Alansparhawk, but first, would you start us with a song?
Sure.
Great.
Let's do. You gotta put up with strangers, people that you know now. You gotta go through some danger, or things that you thought you'd have to. Gotta do a little research before you say that you know. Even then you gotta refrain from using your own opinion. You gotta tend to the detail. Gotta write that stuff down. You gotta put up a big sail. Gotta clean your dashboard cup holder. You gotta put up with strangers, people that you know now. You gotta go through some danger, answer things and you thought you'd have to. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na na na.
You've been listening to Alansparhawk here on WFHB ahead of his show tonight at the Bishop. I love that song so much. Thanks for starting with that one.
Oh, sure.
I wanted to start by saying thank you for coming back to Bloomington over the years and not skipping us by.
Oh, it's always been a destination.
Well, I love that. People get very excited when you come into town.
Oh, a couple people. I hope.
Oh, definitely more than a couple people.
Thanks.
So wanted to talk about White Rose is My God. It's the title of your debut solo album. Came out in September of 2024, and it was a really different sound for you. I don't think anybody expected you to release an electronic album. So, yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a weird time for me. I was kind of trying to figure out where I was at, a little existential moment, a little bit of grief going on, a lot of grief. And after years and years of listening to myself sing and play the guitar, it was a while. There was a while there it was kind of difficult to do that, and then I started messing around with the synthesizer and a drum machine and a voice pitch manipulator that kind of tweaks your voice out a little bit, making it's you can still sing and use the same muscles and the same things that you use when you're singing, but the sound is different, which at least for a while there was pretty exciting to me. And, I don't know. I was kind of just messing around and ended up coming up with a couple things that were interesting, and my kids walked through and said, "That sounds cool." So that's kind of all I needed to know, and so I kind of finished up a whole record of that stuff. Kind of was surprised. I didn't really set out to make a record, but the material came together. And around the same time, I was also hanging out with some friends of mine who were in a band called Trampled by Turtles, who are very much the opposite of that world. They're more of a acoustic group. You know, they play places like Red Rocks, and they open for jam bands and stuff like that. But they're old friends, and so I kind of ended up doing two very different records, kind of without really intending to make a record.
Well, it was very surprising. It was last week, right? That the single
first
came
song,
out. Yeah,
the song I just played was first song.
And it made it even more exciting because it was so different than what we'd heard before. And that album with Trampled by Turtles is coming out on May 30th. Sub Pop?
Yeah, late May, I think. Yeah.
Is there a name for it?
It's just Alansparhawk with Trampled by Turtles.
Very nice.
I wanted to call it Alansparhawk Trampled by Turtles.
They nixed
Somebody
that.
said it would be problematic.
Oh,
so.
right. You want to talk about kind of your recording process with either album? Like, do you enjoy that? Do you work in a studio? Do you work at home?
Both very different experiences, and also somewhat different from the way I'd worked before. With Low, when we first started, it was real quick. We were on low budget, so we would learn to just get in the studio real quick, play our songs, get them tracked, mix them quick. Do a little overdubbing if we wanted to, and get it out. And over the years, we'd get a little bit more time, and we'd work with different people who had different approaches, and really, kind of after 30 years, had kind of an evolution there that was nice, and I don't know. Actually, for this one, like I said, it was sort of unintentional. I was more just messing around with some instruments, and also everything on White Rose is My God was improvised.
Oh, wow.
I basically just would improvise. I'd get the computer going and just record what I was doing in the moment, and I'd just kind of mess around and see what would come out of me. And every once in a while, there'd be 2-3 minutes of something that seemed coherent, and I'd go back and capture that, or not capture, but edit it, and that ended up being the thing. So that was different. Usually, traditionally you'd write the song, spend sometimes months and months trying to figure it out and finish it, and then practice it and try it a few different ways in the studio and find a way to do it. But this time was just like, I just wanted to capture it as it was coming out of me, and I was pretty surprised with it. And that was just at home, just with a computer and a digital I/O and a cheap synthesizer and a drum machine. The newer one that's coming out in May is all acoustic, kind of bluegrass instruments, but not necessarily bluegrass approach, and kind of just standing around in a room like this, looking at each other, going, "Okay, here comes this next section," and those guys were used to doing it that way, and they're old friends, and we'd played together before, so it was really easy to just fall into it without having to talk about it
That's
much.
nice.
And yeah, it's nice when that happens.
Yeah. Do you know how many albums you've recorded throughout throughout your career? Do you have any idea?
I don't. I don't. There's a lot of gray area there too.
Right.
EPs and 2 or 3 songs that you put on this or that, and I don't know. I mean, we on average over 30 years. I guess I was putting something out every couple years, so
Yeah.
it must be about 15 or so. It doesn't feel like it at the time. It doesn't feel like you're that busy, but just like anything, you just kind of keep at it and do your best, and once 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and eventually you look back and you realize you got a lot done. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we're glad that you got a lot done.
Well, we were lucky. We were lucky. We just kind of every step of the way, we ran into the right people and had just enough resources to keep doing what we were doing, and it was fun. We met a lot of dear friends that way, and got through a lot of pretty powerful experiences. Struggling and pushing, and sometimes having little victories and even failures. It's really the essence of life. So
Yep.
it's fun.
Well, I think now would be a good time for another song.
Sure. This is a song that's on White Roses, My God. It's more electronic, drums and synth, but I'll play it with the guitar here.
Great.
Oops, I'm going to tune quick. I guess.
Heaven, it's a lonely place if you're alone. I wanna be there with the people that I love. Make someone that you wait in. Who's gonna be there? Yeah, you. Are you gonna be there?
You've been listening to Alan Sparhawk here on WFHB ahead of his show tonight at the Bishop with Circuit des Yeux. I was curious to talk to you about the current state of the music industry. And as an artist that's been making albums and touring for 30 years, I wondered what your perspective was. Like, do you feel that it's harder for emerging artists in 2025?
I don't know. I think over time things things just shift around. There's always something hard about it. There's always something hard about getting into music. It's always something hard about trying to get people to listen to something you created. It's always hard navigating the business. It's always hard trying to figure out a show. Things evolve and mutate. Certainly the internet. I've been around long enough to remember how things would network before the internet. A lot of phone calls and letters and stuff like that, and newsletters, and the internet really changed things. It changed the way people promote their stuff. It definitely brought in a new way for people to use other means to create hype or attention. Certainly more venues for people to attract that kind of thing. And I mean, I guess by hype, I mean just kind of building the story around something and getting people to, planting the thought, like maybe I should listen to this music now that I've heard about this artist or about this person or about the music that they did, that they do, or that they're currently doing. The timing for making records, you make a record, it used to be you'd turn it in and the thing would come out 3 months later. Now things take a lot longer. You have to set it up. Touring, you have to spend a lot of time. It's way in advance now. Like venues are looking, it's people are booking already late in the year. Like things are getting booked already for the end of the year. Which is weird, because if you have a record that's coming out and you're trying to convince a promoter to have you have a show, they don't even have anything out yet for them to even engage in it. So it's that's one thing that's a little off kilter and weird for timing that didn't used to be that way. But I don't know. I mean, there's definitely, I think, promoter, over in different phases over the years, promoters and people that are trying to put on stuff there'll be phases where they're more brave and they're more interested in supporting up and coming things. And then there's times, unfortunately, probably due to money, where they're like, okay, how do we let's only book stuff that we know is going to sell a lot. Let's just check social
Check
media
your
numbers and see
if
okay, who should we put on this bill? I'm like, well, see who's got the most followers. And it's really unfortunate, but it's kind of just the twists of the way things go, Ownership, I think, is getting weird. I think any artist that has a back catalog at this point, they or their manager is spending a lot of time right now, like combing the internet and trying to find where people are stealing royalties. If you take a song and make your own visual for it and put it up, and put your name, you can put your name on it, and you'll get the credit for it. There's more and more time being spent to do that. I don't know. Meanwhile, I think there's some really great music being made. People are pushing, as always. People are pushing the edge. They're pushing the possibilities of the language. I've been listening. I don't know. I think there's a lot of really great artistry and real raw talent going on in hip hop now. Has been forever for sure, but it's just so obvious now. I don't know. Name a subject. I could give you some old man comments about just about anything at this point.
Well, here's another one. What do you think about South by Southwest discontinuing the music portion of the event? They just announced that.
There's no music?
No music.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're taking the music out of South by Southwest, and it'll be mostly like film, movie.
Oh, well, that's... Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's just sort of the trajectory of a lot of stuff, It starts out interesting and homegrown and DIY and expands, and there's a golden age where things are great and people are excited and it's drawing in interesting people and factors and ideas, and then it becomes attractive to larger money that doesn't necessarily have the sensitivity for what's going on.
Right.
I've played South by Southwest a bunch of times. It's probably been 4 or 5 years since I've been there for sure, if not more. And yeah, There's definitely a trajectory there.
Yeah,
I remember when it was. I remember when it was cool.
Right.
And when
Right.
it was kind of a wild gamble. You get thrown on a bill with who knows what.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was really great.
Yeah.
And you'd see other cool bands, and you could still get a hotel somewhere close to town.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we have time for one more song. I feel like
sure.
we could talk all day, but
Yeah,
we
I
can't.
don't mind. Yeah, let's go like South by Southwest. Let's just have seminars and
Right.
and music. Yeah, I'll play another song. It's another short one. I kind of got this thing for short songs. I'm not sure if it's laziness or just trying to be. I'm just trying to be as pointed. And
Yeah.
sometimes you come up with 4 lines and you're like, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I want to ruin that by adding more to it.
Yeah.
You'll play the song. Is that cool?
Amazing.
Or anything other questions?
Please do. No,
Yeah,
we're
I don't
good.
mind. I don't mind talking. All right, this is a super new song I've been playing at shows, and it's called "No More Darkness." No more darkness. No more darkness. No more darkness. My love. No more darkness. No more darkness. No more darkness anymore. 'Cause good is good, and wrong is wrong. So turn up the light and sing along. No more darkness. No more darkness. No more darkness. My love.
So pretty. Thank you so much.
Peace, y'all. Thank you.
You've been listening to Alan Sparhawk here on WFHB. Alan, thank you so much for making the time to come in and do this.
No problem.
Really
It's
appreciate
nice.
it.
It's really nice here. Y'all are very, very kind.
Thank you. You can see Alan Sparhawk tonight at the Bishop with Circuit des You. The show is 18 and up, and it starts at 8 p.m. Be sure to like and subscribe to our new WFHB Firehouse Session YouTube page to see these full sessions. This is your host, music director, and Firehouse Session producer, Abby Neruzzi, and I'd like to give many thanks to our general manager, Jar Turner, engineers Marcus Drolet and Jesse Grubb, videographers Brian Boucher, Eric Marlowe, and Garrett Portinga, and to you for tuning in to WFHB.